purpose of this flight was to fly to an abandoned copper mine you see here down in southern Arizona in a town called Ajo. Set up camp next to an old airport, just kind of in the middle of nowhere. I was lucky enough to have a Black Hawk helicopter swoop over my campsite. Got my camera out and was able to get a couple of shots. When I went to the airport in the morning, I was 17th in line to take off. It was a very busy morning here, as you can see. But luckily, I was able to get out of there. It's a beautiful sunrise. Actually, it's a funny story. I'm at the wrong copper mine. I'd seen a bunch of videos of people paramotoring over a mine, and it turns out that one is much closer to Phoenix, called the Cactus Mine. I just did a Google search for large copper mine in Arizona, and this is the one that came up, so I thought this is where everybody went, but this is actually the new Cornelia mine, deep down here in the Sonoran Desert. You can see my flight path there, going south, past some of the tailings of the ore that they took out of the ground. That's actually 7.4 billion cubic feet of tailings. And I just threw up a picture of the artist palette in Death Valley. This area kind of reminded me of that because you can see where some of the pigments and minerals leached out of the ore that they brought out of the ground, and it made just all these really neat colors and pigments in the ground. And the time this mine operated, from roughly 1911 to 1983 when they closed down, they produced 6 billion pounds of copper, worth about $21 billion. But eventually they shut down because the price of copper kind of dropped, and they had some labor issues there at the mine and had to close down. This is a little bit intimidating flying over this, because if I were to have a motor out here, it would be a very long hike if I could even get out of there. So I kind of stayed around the edge. When they first opened this mine back in 1911, they took the ore out of the ground and shipped it across the Pacific all the way to Australia. And that is rock that was 99% ore and 1% copper. And pretty soon they realized that that was not going to be cost effective. So they eventually brought the copper processing facility here, right next to the mine. And the way they do that is they put the rock that they pull out of there into a cylinder with a bunch of metal balls that smashes the rock into almost like a sand consistency. And it goes into these ponds called concentrators, where they mix it with a chemical that pulls the copper out, and it floats to the top where it's skimmed off. You can see one of the concentrators there in this green and blue. After that, it would go on to a smelter where it would be refined even more. In the background, you can see the town of Ajo. Really nice place to visit. And off to the left, you can see where they had dumped all the slag from the smelting process. These two mounds are considered a earthen dam, even though they're not holding back water, and it's the largest one in the United States. Right here, I'm using the speed bar, pressing out with my feet. It's connected to strings that go through pulleys that pull down on the front of your paraglider. It changes the angle of attack where you can get a little bit more speed. And I'm flying kind of low, just avoiding the town, just in case bothering anybody on this early morning. I thought it was kind of interesting, the two different piles. You know, this one is a little bit more sand-like, you can tell, because it's eroded more. Whereas the other pile, that was the larger rocks that they pulled out of the mine. This was a nice flight back, just kind of skimming the Sonoran Desert, dodging cactus and small trees. That's actually the Palo Verde tree, the lighter green you see there. It's a state tree of Arizona. It's got green bark on it so that it can actually do photosynthesis through its bark as opposed to having big leaves. Helps it survive in arid climates. And right now I'm headed back towards the airport. It actually has an interesting story as well. Back during World War II, they used it as a aerial gunnery range where they would have a plane pulling a banner, hopefully far behind it, and people on the ground would be shooting anti-aircraft artillery up at this banner and trying to hit it, and as a way to practice, which just blows my mind. We're gonna have to cut off the motor, be able to hear my foot scrape against the ramp there. A nice soft touchdown. I've got some people back home watching me, but I was not able to get cell service here, so I had to take the Garmin inReach out and send a message back home, letting them know that I wasn't in the bottom of an abandoned copper mine somewhere. And it's nice having a 7-pound wing that you can just throw over your shoulder. Gotta love it. This was a really fun flight. Thanks for watching.